The White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce and On Location TV 19 are proud to present Your Business Matters, dedicated to your business needs. The White Bear Area Chamber is a nonprofit business organization serving as an advocate for the White Bear area and its business community. Now here is the Executive Director of the White Bear Area Chamber and the host of Your Business Matters, Tom Snell.
Welcome to the Your Business Matters, brought to you by the White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce. Each month we interview community leaders and local business owners so you can be informed about the developments in the White Bear area. Today I'm pleased to welcome Bill Short, White Bear Township Clerk and Treasurer. Mr. Short and I will discuss a possible new business project on Bald Eagle Island, a major proposal to build a recording studio. Welcome, Mr. Short.
Thank you.
Now, I was at the last township board meeting, and there was a discussion about building a new site on Bald Eagle Island. It's a recording studio, I understand. And can you give me a little bit of historical context about how the process came about, where you have a developer now and a business owner that are looking to build this new business on Bald Eagle Island?
Be glad to. In 1984, Nick and Jane Van Brunt built their home on Bald Eagle Island, which at the time it was vacant, and it's approximately 3 to 4 acres in size. Nick and Jane have built a new home elsewhere and put their island up for sale. The island is approximately 1/2 mile from the lakeshore. And so they not only built a home on the island, but they also constructed a garage on the lakeshore that would house their motor vehicles, as well as boats, snowmobiles, and hovercraft that they would use to get back and forth to the lake. So that's what's there now. Once they put the property up for sale, they have come to us with, as Nick and Jane as applicants, along with Hans Stahoviak of Mega BN Productions, I think is the name of the company. Hans is interested in buying the home and living there, but also constructing a 2,000 square foot recording studio that would be a separate building from the home. The home, as I believe, is, it's larger. It's a larger home. And they're able to plan some adjustments to the existing home that they would convert, if approved, they would convert the existing racquetball court into a couple of guest bedrooms and additional post-production television studios. So the plan was originally submitted in 2012. At that time, the town's planning commission and the town board approved a zoning certificate that would allow a combination of home and recording studio on the property. At that time, no site and building plans had been submitted. So the use was approved for the island, but no site and building plans were submitted. Then a year passed before any activity took place, which automatically made the zoning certificate null and void. Our zoning process requires, at least that zoning certificate required construction of something or beginning a project within 1 year. And so the developers came back, or the applicants, that was Hans Stahoviak and Nick Van Brunt, and applied again for a project similar to, but with more details now, in 2013. At that point in time, the request again was for a home occupation. And at that time, the Planning Commission reviewed it, and they had more specific site and building plans. And what had been envisioned as a few small huts, more or less, had turned into 3 cabins. I think one of 1,500 and two of 1,250 square feet, and a larger recording studio. The Planning Commission then, on the second application, I think recommended denial. It went to the town board, and they also denied. So the applicants, Hans and Nick, changed their plan, and over the last several months deleted the cabins and I think reduced the size of the studio and provided much more specific information on on-site septic system and other details in the building.
Yeah.
Their application consisted of 3 parts. A request, rather than a home occupation, their request was to create a brand new zoning district in White Bear Township that would apply just to the island.
Right. Yep.
Yep. So the first step in the process is what you witnessed last Monday night, which was a public hearing before the town board to review this request to create a brand new zoning district. So the zoning district as proposed would be called the Bald Eagle Island District. The language that the applicants included in their application and that we recommended was to include one permitted use. That's one use that would be allowed without any special conditions. That's a residence, and that's what's there. The only other use that would have been that is allowed in this new district is a recording studio, which will be a conditional use, or which is a conditional use on the island. So the recording studio portion of this project will have to go through what's called the town's Conditional Use Permit procedure.
So what I'm hearing is that I went to this meeting, and this process still has a ways to go. Then would that be a correct way to
Yes.
put things? I mean, there are a number of things that have to be done before this project is absolutely approved or is denied. Is that
That's
correct?
Yeah.
And so they've gone part way. They've gone and they said, we'll continue this process and move forward. Would that be a real simplistic way to approach it? We've agreed to move forward on this, but there are a lot of steps yet to take.
Yes.
Okay, good. There's a couple of things that that intrigued me about this project that I wanted to go over with you. As you know, it's somewhat controversial. There are people on both sides. When I was at the hearing, it seemed to be about 50-50. I mean, some people were really adamant about not having this project, and some were saying that this will be a renaissance, for the whole community, because it'll bring in recording artists and it'll bring in musicians like Bob Dylan and Neil Young and Joni Mitchell, and the truth is somewhere probably in between the two variables that I mentioned. But I wanted to find out from you, this project is, if it were to happen, do you have any history of performers that have worked with this person in the past? Are you familiar with anybody? I know we had the one of the performers that performed in, I think it was called Funky Town, which is one of my daughter's favorite songs, but not mine. But I was wondering if you have any if you know of any details of what he's worked with in the past.
Hans has mentioned a few names, but the only 2 names that I can really recall were the 2 that
Right.
attended the public hearing, and that was Cynthia Johnson. That's Funky Town.
That's that's the lady who lives in Maplewood now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she spoke in support of the project.
Right.
And more than that, she spoke about her history with the business.
Right.
Megabn.
Yep.
And then Billy Peterson, who also spoke in favor of the project, and he works with Hans.
Right.
He's I think he called him a music consultant or coordinator, advisor.
And I think he played. He claimed he played with Bob Dylan. I think he said
He did, and he also played a bass player on the Steve Miller Band.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
he's got
okay.
significant credentials.
So it seems like we've got some. His focus is on the '60s and '70s disco music scene. Maybe.
Good question. Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, all right. Now, And again, I know that the planning commission or planning committee or commission had some issues with it because I think the vote was 3-3, and then they brought it forward to the township board. And what are without getting into what your own personal thoughts are of this project, what are some of the challenges that publicly people have stated about this new proposed development?
Those who were opposed to creating the district expressed concerns in several areas. One was a concern that it would depreciate property values. Another concern was that if the recording studio worked out fine, then what's next? That the recording studio won't be there forever, and even if a recording studio works out fine on the site, what's next? And there's the fear of the unknown, and that those who had advice for the board suggested that if you don't take that first step with the recording studio, you don't have to worry about what the second step is going to be. So there are also concerns about how much activity there might be, but I'd say for the most part the issues that were raised during the meeting related, the ones that were measurable or that there were some concerns about it was illegal to do this, that it's a spot zoning. So there were criticisms about whether or not the process was legal, but there weren't that many criticisms specifically about what the operation presented itself as being.
Okay. One of the things that I wanted to ask, and when you go through a process like this, and I know that this is one of the most profound issues that has come up before the town board on a development in quite a while. I mean, would that be a pretty safe statement to make?
Yes, we had standing room only at the town board meeting on Monday night.
Oh.
And that's the first that we've had, years and years.
Who's Danny Ramone?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right.
Was he mentioned?
No, I thought it said Danny Ramone. Anyway.
No, it's really the standing room
Oh,
only.
standing room only. Okay, I apologize. Okay. I thought he was something from the Ramone brothers or something. Okay. Anyway, getting back to the town board issue, is it pretty much standard procedure, or this is something that you can't look at? If I was looking at a major development, and I consider this, even though this isn't like a multi-million-dollar development, this is something that's going to have some lasting community impact, either one way or the other. I mean, a project like this. Does the town board historically go into things like examine a business's background? Do they look at any type of financial information? This is not directed towards any one person, but towards a project of this magnitude. Would they look at things like a business plan or again, financial information, or is that something that is separate and is something that would be between the buyer and the seller only?
The town is pretty careful to focus on that which we have the responsibility and the authority to regulate. For the most part, if an applicant completes an application as the property owner's permission and has provided the fees and deposits necessary to process the request, and it's a reasonable request, the town doesn't get involved in the business plan. However, as an example, related to a barn restaurant, the town has regulations as to the ratio between liquor and food sales. We'll get into a business in that regard, but in regards to, let's say, the proposed home and recording studio, no, the town doesn't get involved in that.
Okay, all right.
One exception, another exception, if a developer is requesting tax increment financing, then they have to demonstrate that they can help the town meet the but-for requirement, that but for the assistance, the project couldn't be built. But aside from TIF, the town doesn't get involved in finances.
And for people that don't know, tax increment financing is a plan that communities can use for economic development purposes, where some of the tax money is withheld from a while the business has a chance to develop.
Actually, yeah.
So
property tax, a certain amount of their property tax is returned to them the next year. Yep.
So, but anyway, so this project then is envisioned to be a recording studio, not a large recording studio by any means, but a recording studio that would be used to bring various artists to the White Bear area to perform and make records or make sound systems for the public, and also for video production too. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and the video production would be for what would go on television with the recording or whatever they would use it for.
I think so.
Okay, all right, yeah. So I guess it would be our hope, and I would imagine the town board, if this does go through to the end result and this happens at some time in the future, that it would add to the overall economic vibrancy of our local community, and would make us a real centerpiece for arts and entertainment in our area, and would be a nice adjunct to our new Lakeshore Players Playhouse that is going to be built. So I would hope that if this does go forward, that those would be what the end result would happen to.
The applicants, as you mentioned earlier, still have a long way to go.
Yep.
And the applicants have also been careful to advise us that many of his clients will want to stay on the island and not leave the island while they're focusing on their craft. And while their presence may become evident once in a while, the way that the applicants are describing it, most people won't know that there's much different going on the island than when Nick and Jane and their family was there.
Now, because this process is still going forward, are there going to be other opportunities for the public to be engaged in this process?
Yes.
Okay.
Last Monday night was only the first of what would be 2 public hearings.
Okay.
That public hearing was for the creation of the zoning district. The next public hearing, if it proceeds, and which we expect it will be a public hearing to review the conditional use permit application. And that's where the applicant and the town review the specifics of their site and building plans. We'll get into issues like parking, number of trips back and forth, other issues that would make it fit.
So the public can, and if they want to find out about the meeting, they can either call the township and find out, or just go on to your website to get that information. Is that correct?
That's correct. At this point, there is a hearing scheduled for Monday, January 5th for the conditional use permit. It hasn't been reviewed by the Planning Commission.
And in summing up, I'd like to say at the last meeting, the town board is very open to having people come and comment, and they do a really good job in making sure that everybody is heard at the township board. Thank you very much.
You've been watching Your Business Matters. For more information on this program or the White Bear Area Chamber, visit www.whitebearchamber.com or call 651-429-8593.